A community is built on the character of its citizens, and Ellsworth County has been blessed by such a rich heritage, a pioneer spirit, and embraces the past as they build for the future. Ellsworth and the surrounding towns of Wilson, Holyrood, Canopolis, and Lorain invite you to spend some time with us this year and join us as we celebrate our 150th anniversary. This special edition of Traveling Kansas will give you a brief look at our history and attractions, and we hope you come discover what makes Ellsworth County such a great place to visit and make your own special memories. Traveling Kansas, Ellsworth County, made possible by a grant from Ellsworth, a community with pride, and in cooperation with Wilson, Holyrood, Canopolis, and Lorain.
This program is brought to you by the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism. Find out more information about Kansas communities at travelks.com.
Join us for a visit to see places of interest and attractions right here in Kansas. This is Traveling Kansas.
I'm Angela Shetman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Ellsworth Area Chamber of Commerce. And we have so many great and exciting things going on in our county, and we're so happy to share this information with you and to help spread the word about all the wonderful things going on in our community. We have over 150 chamber members, and this is in all of Ellsworth County and beyond. Our members range from manufacturing to retail to restaurants to nonprofits. We have a lot of shops just even in this downtown area, and really all of our towns. There's antiques, card and gift shops, flower shops. We have a woman clothing store, hardware, farm, lumber yard, and so there's just a wide range of opportunities here for our citizens, and then also people who are visiting the area.
My name is, I go by the Cowboy, Jim Gray. I am Executive Director of the National Drovers Hall of Fame. 1867 was the opening of the Chisholm Trail to Abilene, and right from that beginning, that's when this town was established. These folks here in Ellsworth wanted to attract that cattle trade, but Abilene pretty much held sway until 1871. By 1871, everything began to shift, and a lot of the cattle trade did shift to Ellsworth. The surrounding Smoky Hills are perfect grazing, and with the spring water in the hills and good mixed grass prairie. So these guys shifted their operations to Ellsworth, and by 1873, Ellsworth was the place to come for buyers to come from the east, cattlemen out of Texas to sell their cattle, and this town was roaring. We established the National Drovers Hall of Fame because of Ellsworth's history with the cattle drive industry. A drover is a cowboy that drives cattle, and we had recognized there are museums from Texas to Canada with little stories about the local drover histories and just an overall quick story about the national trail driving across the country, but no one had really told the story in its entirety, and that's what National Drovers Hall of Fame is all about. It is from Texas to Canada. It's the trail driving industry and all the little ins and outs that a lot of people don't know about. We have a building here in town that was, at the time when we first established the project, that building was about to be demolished. And it's what we call the signature building downtown. It stands out as you drive through town, the old insurance building. And so that was the main focus on the project for the beginning years, was to preserve that building and stabilize it. And we've got to that point. Now we're at the point of actually creating that museum, and we are designing the spaces that we need at this time to tell that story of the old classic trail driver. We've been to livestock conventions and historical conventions and spreading the word of what we're doing. One other way that we're have just begun to spread that word is with a Facebook page. And I suppose the easiest way to find us on Facebook is just to do a search for National Drovers Hall of Fame, and we'll come up.
Sherry Sowers, and I'm the president of Ellsworth County Historical Society. You're on our Ellsworth County Historical Society grounds in Ellsworth, where we have our Hodgson House Museum, our livery stable, we have the depot, we have a church, a school, the Union Pacific caboose, and we've got a Morton building that houses a lot of our farm equipment. We've also got a hospital kind of set up in there, a dentist office. We've got a hardware store. The Hodgson House was the original where they started the Ellsworth County Historical Society. And as I understand, the Hodgson family donated that house to be used as a museum. A group of do-gooders in the community decided we need a historical society to preserve the history of Ellsworth County. And so from that, just developed what we have. And families that were involved in that original group started donating items. They reached out into the communities and talked to folks and said, hey, if there's no one to inherit Grandma's kitchen table, we would like to have it at the museum. And as you go through our museum grounds, you'll see labels on everything of what family member or family donated that particular item. The Hodgson House and the Annapolis Complex are open 6 days a week, and we are open from 10 to 4 every day except Monday. We have many board members that have been on 15 to 20 years plus, just because they have a passion for the history in Ellsworth County. I think that's why I do it. I think just knowing the hardships that my relatives and what they endured throughout their lifetime. I mean, you go into the livery stable and see how they washed clothes, how they vacuumed their floors. And I don't think anything about, taking the shark out of my cupboard and plugging it in and vacuuming my floors. These, you pumped air, and or you cranked things, making homemade ice cream. You cranked, you didn't just plug in the ice cream maker. And I think we've got to preserve that for our young people to know how far we've come. Our ladies that are curators will give tours and go through every building, explain things if children don't know what something is, or the adult. They also, that $3 will cover them to go over to Canopolis either that same day or another day. And that's what I hear. They said, you guys have so much for a small community. And it's all done primarily volunteers and donations.
My name is Lou Adams. I do historical portrayals of Mary Mother Bickerdike. I've been doing it for the last almost 20 years now, and I've been to over 100 different locations because she was such a magnificent woman. If you ever get a chance to read any of the books about her, you'll be so impressed with what she did. But she worked with thousands of young men. She was with them throughout the Civil War, caring for them. The young men, her name wasn't Mother to begin with, but they called her Mother because they were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. 300,000 of them were under the age of 16. So it was Mother. Mother, help me. Mother, I'm sick. Mother, I'm cold. Mother, this hurts. Whatever it was, she mothered them. So that's how she became known as Mother Bickerdike. I'm thrilled always to be in the Hodgson house because Perry Hodgson's wife, the owner of this house and the livery stable, she was a very good friend of Mother Bickerdike. Perry Hodgson served in the Civil War. He was one of the many of the veterans that she helped to settle out here. And she brought over 300 families to this area. And when I say area, I'm talking about Ellsworth County, Lyon County, Saline County, Russell County, Barton County, all around here. Those were her veterans, and she went and got materials for those veterans, food and clothing. This place is important because in Ellsworth, the Grand Army of the Republic organized in the late 1880s. And that Grand Army of the Republic was all those men from the Civil War who wanted to get together. They wanted to see each other. They'd been in regiments. They felt like they were family. They loved each other. And they had one of them, Art Larkin, and this Perry Hodgson was a part of that. But Art Larkin built a home out here south of Ellsworth. And he said, I'll make you guys, you GAR men, a deal. I'll give you 160 acres. Now you have to do these things. You're going to have to pay $1 for it. And then you have to guarantee that you're going to have state and national reunions here every 2 years. Well, that worked great. The first year, 1889, they had built, the state of Kansas had, commissioned $36,000, and they built a big dome building, and it would hold 4,000 men sitting down on chairs. If they took the chairs out, they could stand up 7,000 men in that big dome building. And they had this national reunion, which was wonderful. They had bands, they had baseball games, they had music. I mean, it was a wonderful 2 weeks. The only thing was, in that 2 weeks, the town was a community of about 1,000 people, and 30,000 people came to Ellsworth, Kansas. And Ellsworth didn't have hotels and motels and restaurants or latrines. So, I mean, it was a fiasco for 2 weeks, and the national people said, I don't think we'll come back to Ellsworth again. Breach of contract. Now, Perry Hodgson said, goes to charity. Well, the charity that they turned it over to was called the Women's Relief Corps, WRC. When they did, the Women's Relief Corps says, hey, we'll make a home. We'll use the barracks, we'll use a hospital, and we'll make a home for widows and orphans of the men who served in the Civil War. So that's what they did. I mean, it was wonderful, you know, and that home, if you can believe this, was open until 1951, and the few women that were left here were mustered out to the Soldiers' Home in Dodge City, Kansas. That big dome building in 1901, they tore it down. Understand, that was a government put up building. What do you do? Then the government tears it down.
My name is Greg Heller. I'm the historian and interpretive guide at Fort Harker Guardhouse Museum, and I'm dressed as a first sergeant with the 7th Cavalry Company K. Fort Harker was established actually as Fort Ellsworth in 1864. In 1866, the name was changed to Fort Harker, named after Brigadier General Charles Garrison Harker, who had been killed at Kennesaw Mountain, Georgia during the Civil War. In 1867, the fort was moved from its original location down on the Smoky Hill River 1 mile northeast to its location here. And in 1867, the construction of the Fort Harker of 81 buildings. The building that we're in was the guardhouse. It was the first of the 81 buildings, and 5 of those buildings were made of this Dakota sandstone, which is a native stone that was quarried about 6 miles east of here. And the stones were so massive they could only carry about 2 stones per wagon load. Well, Fort Harker continued on as a fort of protection until 1868. In 1868 and 69, it changed its role to a supply depot, and it supplied the troops west. In 1872, the railroad was all the way to Denver. Most of the Indian problems was further west, north and south, and so there wasn't a need for Fort Harker anymore, and it was closed down. In 1876, Kansas legislature petitioned Congress to get this abandoned fort given to them. And they wanted to maintain it as an agricultural college. Well, Congress denied that request. However, a few years later, Kansas tried that again with another abandoned fort, and they got that fort, and that became Fort Hays State College. So we could have been Fort Harker State College. What we have here at the fort, we have we own actually 3 of the original buildings. Actually, 4 of the original buildings are still standing. One of them is a private residence. The Historical Society owns the guardhouse, the commanding officers' quarters, and the junior officers' quarters, who were all original buildings of the fort and are at their current original locations. Fort Harker Guardhouse Museum is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And during the summer months, we're also open on Sundays from noon to 4. You know, probably one of the most interesting things about my particular job is the people that you get to meet from all over the world. From Japan and Italy and Germany and France have all come here, and every state in the United States has come through Fort Harker, and being able to tell them the history of Kansas and how important the frontier forts and Fort Harker was to the development of Kansas and this great country.
I'm Sarah Sokup, and I'm at the Hodgkin House Museum Complex, and I am a museum staff member. One of the things when people visit the museum that we always mention, and we have a picture of, are the Ferris Caves, which are east of the Canopolis, and if they visit the fort, it's very easy for them to get there because it's only a couple miles east of there. The Ferris family originally came from Scotland, and there were 5 brothers that came to Kansas, 3 previous. But in 1872, brothers William and Winifred came to Kansas and purchased a tract of land in 1877. In 1893, they purchased a tract of land that had 3 caves on it that were dug by a Charles Griffey. And hence, since then, they've been known as the Ferris Caves. They lived in one of the caves. In 1899, 1900, they converted one of the caves into a school. And one of the caves was spring-fed, and they used it as a milk room to keep their milk cool. It's a beautiful place to come and visit. There's a picnic table out there. It's a 60-foot sandstone bluff. You don't think you're in Kansas, because Kansas is sort of known as being flat country, and that bluff, it's just beautiful out there. So if you get a chance to come to Ellsworth County, come to Fort Harker or the Hodgkin House Museum, we'll give you the directions to get there.
I'm Jason Sunderland, the park manager for Canopolis State Park. Canopolis State Park is located in Ellsworth County in the heart of the Smoky Hills on Canopolis Reservoir. Horse Thief Canyon area is a lot of our day use area that has 26 miles of multi-use trails. The trails you can mountain bike, horseback ride, and even normal hiking. The trails offer caves to explore, natural sandstone, pretty scenery that a lot of people don't expect to see in Kansas or around here. Canopolis State Park was the first state park in Kansas in our system. Along with that, another first for the state park was we're the first state park to have horse trails along with actual horse trail campground to where people can bring their horses in, camp, and have corrals to keep their horses at. Boating's another popular recreation out here. We have 2 boat ramps with courtesy docks to make loading and unloading your boats a lot easier. We have 2 fish cleaning stations located at both fishing docks, and we have roughly a little over 140 utility campsites. We have 6 cabins, modern cabins here at Canopolis, and they can sleep up to 8 persons per cabin. For more information on contacting Canopolis State Park or make reservations for our cabins or campsites, you can call the park office or visit our website, or we're also on Facebook. You can contact us through there also. Last year, the park visitation was a little over 240,000 visitors that came to the park. For the fishing opportunities at Canopolis, a lot of people come out here for the walleye, crappie, and catfishing. The walleye are hitting about springtime, late winter. We do have some bird watchers that come out. We're kind of unique that we do have eagle nest that's out here. Right now, we believe that the eagles are sitting on 2 eggs for the past 3 years. They've hatched 2 eaglets. In this area we also have a lot of petroglyphs that are written around in a lot of the rocks. Nowadays it's getting harder to find and locate them. With the history of Fort Harker in this area, we have record of General Custer and Buffalo Bill Cody being around this area also. Mushroom State Park is a satellite state park just north of Canopolis Lake. It's about a 5-acre park that has a small trail with unique rock formations that were formed back when this whole area was underwater, and then once the water receded, formed these unique rock formations that are very unique for this country and probably in the United States, that you only get to see this around here.
A community is built on the character of its citizens, and Ellsworth County has been blessed by such a rich heritage, a pioneer spirit, and embraces the past as they build for the future. Ellsworth and the surrounding towns of Wilson, Holyrood, Canopolis, and Lorain invite you to spend some time with us this year and join us as we celebrate our 150th anniversary. This special edition of Traveling Kansas will give you a brief look at our history and attractions, and we hope you come discover what makes Ellsworth County such a great place to visit and make your own special memories. Traveling Kansas, Ellsworth County, made possible by a grant from Ellsworth, a community with pride, and in cooperation with Wilson, Holyrood, Canopolis, and Lorain.
This program is brought to you by the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism. Find out more information about Kansas communities at travelks.com.
The exciting part of our community is tourism as well, and I have people come to the chamber and they say, what fun things can I do here? And I'm so excited to share with them about the unique opportunities we have. There are 2 byways that our county falls within, and that's the Prairie Trail Byway and also the Post Rock Byways. So those are a great thing to do. Something that we have, and I got to go there yesterday, and it's just such a neat thing because there's not very many of them left in Kansas, but it's the Canopolis Drive-In Theater. And that was fun, and that is such a fun family thing to do. You can even go eat dinner there. I mean, their concession stand was phenomenal, and then you can go enjoy dinner with your family and watch a movie all at the same time, and that's just not something you can do anywhere. They can hold up to 164 cars, which is phenomenal for our area, and if they fill up, which sometimes they do, you can park out on the street and just come on in with your lawn chair. They have a grass area as well. And so it's just a lot of fun. They have kids in town that can just walk there to go see the movies, and it's just a really neat, fun family thing to do.
Jim and Wanda Morford here from Morford Lavender Farm. We've been growing lavender here for several years, and now we really focus on propagating lavender for growers all over the Midwest. And so we have about 40 varieties here on the farm, and we continually try to expand the number of varieties to try to see what varieties will grow in the climate here in the Midwest, and both in our hot summers and our harsh winters. And we grow all of this from cuttings, so we do not do anything from seed. It's all from cuttings. And then we get these in this size of a pot here, so that now in the next couple of weeks we'll literally be sending out thousands of these. People come and pick them up, and then they'll plant them in their fields. And so I've got customers coming from South Dakota, Texas, Illinois, Missouri, Colorado, Nebraska, here all over here in Kansas. And that's what we do. We have fun doing it, and we decided to start this project while we were still young.
Yeah, right.
Our chamber, we cover the entire county. This includes the towns of Ellsworth, Canopolis, Holyrood, Wilson, and Lorain. And Lorain is just really a neat town to go see, and they have a beautiful church there I would highly recommend looking at.
I'm Marlon Johnson.
I was born north of Lorain, Kansas, about 2 miles north, in a farmhouse. I've lived here all my life. I went to school at the Lorain schools, the grade school and the high school. And I graduated in 1941 from the Lorain High School. This present building was built in 1937. The old church building was a frame church building, and the congregation decided to build a bigger church and newer church. So they pulled down the steeple of the old church in January 2nd of 37, and they dug the basement with farm tractors, and they poured the foundation all by hand, no ready mix, and they poured the foundation all in one day, no seam in the foundation, and it's a large foundation. It was completed that fall, I think in the end of November. Now, everything was not as you see it right now, but it was basically this way. These are the same pews, and the pulpit is the same as when it was dedicated. I was here when they put all the water system in, and that was quite a deal because, yeah, everyone here in town had a windmill, and they have pictures of it. They call it the Windmill City. It's a good place for people to live who are commuting to other places.
My name is Kenny Shetland. I am the mayor of Holyrood. Holyrood is, we like to say we're about halfway between Ellsworth and Great Bend on 156 highway, and we're actually only about 15 miles from Ellsworth, more or less, and 25 miles from Great Bend. And Holyrood sustains a good number of jobs, but we're more of a sleeper community for people that live and work in Ellsworth and work over in Great Bend and even Saline and Hutchinson, Kansas. The greatest asset we possibly could have, and you realize that when you're in a community, is the people. We're very fortunate to have such a wide range of citizens, are people who have been here forever and understand the community and understand the history that we've had here. And then we have a group of young people that have young children coming to school here at our grade school that we have with our school district here in town. It is just fabulous. We've got a group of young people that don't take no for an answer. A few years ago, they wanted a place for their children to play, literally to play in town, and so they took our city park, as it was at that time, had a fundraiser, and in less than 12 months, they found $100,000 through their efforts and had a project put together at our city park here in town. And that was a group of maybe 7 to 12 less couples on that, and they just didn't take no for an answer. They said, we need this, we want this, and we're going to do that. And they work in the same way on a project now. They're going to have a splash pad up there in the next 12 months, and I don't doubt them one bit. They'll do that. They'll get it done. Holyrood, Bushton, and Claflin, and the town of Wilson united and became USD 112. And Holyrood, Bushton, and Claflin, in those three communities, we share the entire school population. Everybody was able to maintain a school within the community, and all of us in small communities know how important it is to have a school. I mean, it's you talk about all the other things that you have, but without a school, you're challenged to hold people. We're very fortunate to be the ones that have K through 5 right in here, so young couples that are when they're starting out at is everybody's working. If you live in Holyrood or very close to Holyrood, it's an easy drive and an easy pickup to bring your kids here. It's a great place to raise your children at.
I'm Rob Cook, and we are standing in front of Plum Creek Plaza, which is just one of the ways that our community has provided services for the elderly that are in Holyrood. Plum Creek, I believe, opened in 2002 and then did an expansion in 2005. And so it's been serving the residents of Holyrood, and actually have quite a few have moved, from surrounding communities. I'm a past mayor. Between serving on the council and serving the mayor, I think 23 years, roughly, something like that. I felt like during that time it really just was natural for what everybody in Holyrood does, just has this spirit of whatever piece of the job you can pick up and give back to the community, that's the piece you pick up. Every organization we look at here in town has just tremendous volunteerism, tremendous spirit, just people love to work together and have pride in their community, and it shows, and it leads to this wonderful quality, small town quality of life we enjoy.
My name is Don Simpson. I'm a native of Holyrood, and we're standing in front of the depot. The depot was built in 1887 as part of the railroad. Holyrood originally was about half a mile south of town out here. But when the railroad came through, they came through this area, so then Holyrood had to move over here. It was unique in that it was built on pilings. There aren't very many depots that were that way, and this is one of the few that's still remaining. After the railroad went through, they abandoned the depot, and the railroad turned over to the Rails to Trail people, and we tried for several years to get things going to restore the depot. Finally, when Vern and Karen Chapman moved back to Holyrood, they actually live out on the farm, but they took this on as a project and got going, and so with a lot of volunteer help and some grants and monies from various people, we started restoring the depot. The east part of here, which was the waiting room, we're going to make into a small museum representing Holyrood and the railroad, and then the agent's office, which is the west part, that will be a small meeting room for people to, if they want to have a meeting in here. We're pretty proud of what we've accomplished here in the short time that we've been doing this, but like I said, a lot of volunteer help to get this painted and restored to where we're at now. As I mentioned, Holyrood originally was out southeast of town here, and the first merchant had a mercantile, which was a three-story stone building. The lower floor, of course, was for animals, which was traditional, and then the second floor was for the mercantile, and the third floor was for living quarters. Well, when the railroad came through, then had the depot here, so then they moved to the town, and there's a stone building over here on the corner. That is the top two floors of the original mercantile. They took those down stone by stone and moved them into town here. So that's, you might say, is kind of native to Holyrood. It's has several different businesses over time. I remember as a kid going in there, a barber shop was in there. Later on there was a locker plant, and then there was an antique store. So there's been a variety of businesses in that building. We're pretty proud of our little community here. It's a good place to live. I left here in 1954 when I went into service, and was gone until 2002 when we moved back. We've had some people that have moved back, and there's been a big boon to the community to have people come back and enjoy the living in a small community.
In Ellsworth County, there's a multitude of wonderful places to live at, but Holyrood is one of those towns that's always welcoming. We have wonderful churches here in town. We're easily located. We have most of the services that anyone will ever need right in that. So I would encourage people and welcome people to come and visit Holyrood at their convenience, and just come and enjoy us.
Vidime Vas, welcome to Wilson, Kansas, home of the world's largest Czech egg and gateway to Wilson Lake. I am Teresa Staudinger, the chairperson of the Czech Egg Committee, a subcommittee of the Wilson Chamber of Commerce. The world's largest Czech egg is 20 feet tall and 18 feet in diameter. It sits under a 30-foot gazebo, which is decorated with Czech stars and Czech lions. We have 4 wonderful parks boasting their own attributes. The Ed and Levan Cherokee Park is the home of the world's largest Czech egg. The Wilson Pride Park has a spray park for kids to cool off in during the summer. The Lions Club Park is perfect for a picnic and is the central location for the Wilson After Harvest Czech Festival. And Jellison Park is across from our baseball diamonds and is a great place for kids to enjoy playground equipment and horseshoes.
Hi, my name is Susan Criley and I am the Czech Festival co-chair. Welcome to Wilson. One of the wonderful things Wilson has to offer during the summer is a splash pad spray park. Kids from surrounding towns come to enjoy the splash pad during the summer months. It is self-activated from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Other features of Wilson include a round jail located on Main Street or Avenue E. It is owned by the owners of Grandma's Soda Shop and being renovated into a wonderful tourist spot. Step back in time and you can come visit our historic Midland Railroad Hotel. The hotel was originally built in the late 1800s and is featured in the movie Paper Moon. After much renovation, it is open to the public and has 28 rooms, a tavern, a restaurant, and a patio bar, which is a new feature this year. Located east of the world's largest check egg is our Wilson Disc Golf Course, organized by the Wilson Economic Development Corporation. You've got to come see one of our biggest annual events. People come from all over the United States and the world to see our After Harvest Czech Festival. Our After Harvest Czech Festival is the last Saturday in July every year. We have numerous activities and events that start the Friday before and continue on through that Saturday. We have live entertainment, polka bands, we have Czech dancers, a city band, ice cream social, and many other activities. For updated information on the Czech Festival, go online and visit wilsonczechfest.com or on our Facebook page, After Harvest Czech Festival.
So come to Wilson. See the world's largest check egg, enjoy a relaxing stay at the beautiful and historic Midland Railroad Hotel, stroll down the streets and taste the famous sausage made at Wilson Foods, take a seat at Grandma's Soda Shop and have them mix you up a drink at their old-fashioned fountain. Then hop in your car and drive out to Wilson Lake. Located in the heart of the Smoky Hills, Wilson Lake is considered by many to be the most beautiful lake in the state.
For more information about Wilson or information about activities, please call Wilson City Hall. The number is 785-658-2272. Contact us on our Facebook Get Wilson page or online at wilsonkansas.com.
So when you're visiting Ellsworth County, whether you're going to the lakes or visiting the Mushroom Rocks or one of our exciting museums, another thing you can do is visit the Ellsworth Historical Plaza walking tour. And this is a really unique experience. The tour begins on the corner of Douglas and South Main Streets, and it consists of 17 frontier silhouettes and signs. And these signs, complete with photographs from the area, provide an overview of daily life of Ellsworth Plaza. Specific events that happened at specific locations are also explained, and each sign is easily recognized from a distance by the accompanying still silhouette. So this is something really fun you can do as you enjoy your walk through Ellsworth's history. There are lots of events that go on in this area. Every weekend has an event going on. And the second weekend in July over in Canopolis, they have what's called Harker Days. And so that's a weekend full of family fun. There's activities, they have a parade, they have turtle races, which is a really neat thing. And the third weekend in August is Cowtown Days. And that happens here in Ellsworth. And again, there's a lot of family activities. We have art and food vendors that come to town. There's the Elk Can Rodeo that happens. There's a street dance, they have a parade, and a lot more that goes on that weekend. It's just a weekend just filled with fun. With a 150-year celebration, it will be August 17th through 20th. It's going to be a huge weekend though, just packed full of fun things to do. There'll be family activities going on throughout the whole thing. They have a parade. There's going to be a cattle drive this year, and lots going on there. It's just going to be a really fun weekend. If you go to cowtowndays.com, they have information about the event, or you can visit the chamber website, which is goellsworth.com, and you can also find information there. We have a Facebook page as well, so Ellsworth Area Chamber, and then also Cowtown Days has a Facebook page that you can find information, or you can call me at 785-472-4071, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
I'm Scott Moore, City Administrator for the City of Ellsworth. Here in 2017 is, again, the mark of our 150th anniversary, so we have a lot of planning efforts that hopefully our citizens will be able to see that this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. And knowing that us getting to this point is taking a lot of pioneers, families that really made Ellsworth County their home. So we're hoping to showcase Ellsworth in a different light, but show Ellsworth as being a community of active, smaller communities from Wilson to Holyrood to Lorain to Canopolis. I think the biggest thing, since I came back, I was here from 1997 to 2005 and then went away for 10 years. And now when I came back, just being able to offer some more experience, a little more insight, a little more wisdom, and not being afraid to go to other communities and other council meetings and say, hey, what can we do to work together? And I think that's the biggest thing, even with the county commissioners, is to say, if we work together, we're going to get some things done. And if, in my way I see things, if we see Canopolis succeed, Lorain succeed, Holyrood succeed, Wilson succeed, then we know City of Ellsworth is going to succeed. And so that's hopefully the ripple effect that we're creating with that mindset and that approach to dealing with small projects and even the bigger projects. I think the biggest thing when you look at Ellsworth, the state prison when it came here back in 88, 89, that was definitely a big boost to our economy. And I think the vision then is that you can hire individuals that still want to live on the farm and have family-owned businesses on the farming industry to have a job that had benefits. And so knowing that you can attract younger family members that grew up with elders that went that route, we have I feel a door that's open to encourage young people to come back.
Ashley Bowl, Citizen State Bank and Trust Company, Ellsworth, Kansas. Citizen State Bank has been a member and partner with the Ellsworth County community since 1900. Happy to be here, obviously. We're the cornerstone of the community. That's our tagline. We're right downtown. We also had a drive-in facility for many years downtown. Once Ellsworth saw some good movement up on Highway 156 with some businesses locating up there, we felt the need to relocate our highway bank, our facility downtown to the highway, which allows for our business customers to have access to another location in town, but maybe a little bit more conveniently located up on the highway of 156 and Old 40. Ellsworth is a thriving community. We've seen a lot of growth. We've seen a stable market. It's a wonderful community to live in. You know, I'm not originally from Ellsworth. I come from eastern Kansas. You know, it's an interesting community. It's a beautiful community, centrally located in the state of Kansas. Rural, small town, small school, but yet we have access to, larger cities if we would need to go there for other things. But good hometown feel, thriving community, just a great place to be.
My name is John Whitmer, and I'm the mayor of Ellsworth. We're a very small town, right in the middle of Kansas. Unlike a lot of the smaller towns, though, in Kansas, I think we're more progressive. We've got a lot of industry, a lot of things going on in town. The school system's very well. Both my kids went through the school system. I went through high school here, middle school as well. Yeah, I think we've got a great group of teachers up there.
My name is Ryan Peshka, and I am a member of the Ellsworth City Council, and I've been on the council for 4 years. I actually was born and raised in Ellsworth and then moved away for several years after graduating college. I actually lived in Kansas City. And, when you're young, you're always thinking that, what's the fastest ticket to get out of town. But when you've been away for a while, you gain that perspective of what truly is unique and so valuable and exciting about being part of a small town like Ellsworth. One thing that I'm proud of is our golf course. I actually used to work there growing up, and we had a lot of people come in and play the course from bigger cities, and they would always comment on how much fun the course was and what a great value it is. And so there's things like that maybe are right up there at the same level of what some of the bigger communities have, but maybe the convenience is a little bit better here, the price, the value, just an amazing place to raise a family.
I'm Ron Timbrink. I'm the Recreation Director for the City of Ellsworth. As you can see, we're in the City Hall Gymnasium, which houses my basketball, volleyball leagues for youth and adult. Our high school, actually, this is their second gym as well as far as practices and sub-varsity games, so they do utilize this as well. Okay, as far as our parks, we have two big parks in town. One's Kreisig Park, which houses our tennis courts, 4 courts there. We do have a walking trail that's probably about a mile and a half long. Playground equipment, shelter houses, barbecue pits and things of that nature. Presker Park's probably our oldest park here in town. A lot of history there. It's got our band shell, some playground equipment, so lots of trees, lots of shade. Also oversee the swimming pool. It's a 2,000 gallon pool, big water slide, 2 diving boards, one's a high dive. It's open from Memorial Day till a couple weeks into August. So, that's a nice little attraction for a small community. We had this shoot away. It's a little basketball machine that shoots passes to you and you can work on your shooting. We had some local people here in town that raised the money to purchase that machine. We do house it here. I mean, anybody can use it, anytime during the course of the day. So that's a nice little piece of equipment for our student athletes to use.
We have a lot of community-focused businesses in town that have donated tons of labor and equipment and just time that has went into making our parks and recreational facilities top-notch. And with their resources, that in turn has freed up a lot of resources for the city that we can then put back into investing into our infrastructure, such as our water and sewer system and our streets. I actually grew up about 3 blocks from here, and so back in the 80s, there wasn't anything around out here other than some farm ground, really. So it's amazing just how quickly, for a town of our size, that things have really taken off. That's certainly helped from an economical standpoint, as we have a couple highways that intersect up here, and it's just once a few things kind of got going, it kind of was snowballed, and we really just saw amazing growth. We've been very fortunate.
My name is Roger Massey, and I'm Chief Executive Officer at Ellsworth County Medical Center in Ellsworth, Kansas. We are a 20-bed critical access hospital. That's a special designation given to small rural facilities by Medicare and the Center for Medical Services in Washington that pays us differently than how we're paid in a larger organization such as a Salina Regional or a Hayes Medical Center. We have 4 rural health clinics. 3 are satellite sites, one in Lucas, one in Wilson, one in Holyrood, and we have the main campus here in Ellsworth. We have a well-rounded program in terms of ancillary services. We provide mobile mammography, mobile MRI, CT scan in-house, nuclear medicine, as well as a full range of clinical lab services, ultrasound, respiratory services, and rehab services. We are employing at this particular point about 140 full-time equivalent employees. That's inclusive of the medical staff. We have 3 physicians. One is an internist, 2 are family practice, and we have 4 what they call mid-level providers that are physician's assistants or registered nurse practitioners. We find that there's a fairly vibrant business community here in Ellsworth. There's a pretty stable market on the retail side, and there are a few manufacturing organizations that are doing fairly well here in the community and are doing business nationally, and a couple of them even internationally. So we feel that given that kind of profile, as well as with the education system in the community and the prison system, that we are critical to the sustenance of that particular set of services within this community, so that we can continue to remain stable economically as we have been. The hospital itself is at this particular point, I think, in a reasonably good position financially, to the degree that we see ourselves able to be sustainable within the community in terms of the services that we do provide. We feel very proud of our employees, and we feel that they are in some ways the most important marketing that we can have, because they are the instrumental people who have lived in this community all their lives.
You know, probably the thing that I'm most proud of is the fact that it's such a great team effort between a lot of the public and the private businesses. I mean, we have our economic development team is here in town. They're really focused on the whole county and what's good for the county. You know, our city administrator, you know, he's certainly an advocate for the whole area, not just for what's best for Ellsworth, because we ultimately know that, you know, it's been tough in rural Kansas at times. But, you know, if you really look at kind of the population trends and the things like that, Ellsworth has really held its own. And for a community of our size, not a lot of communities can say that. And it's really been, you know, a team effort. You know, over the next 20 years, we can continue to, you know, provide the incentives and continuing to the growth that we've been so fortunate to have.
We'd like to welcome everybody to Ellsworth, and if you are in the area, we'd love to have you stop by and visit our town.
What I envision seeing is, what other quality of life amenities can we add to the community? And when you go to Kansas City or you go to Wichita, they have a lot of walking trails and paths. And there could be, I think, in the near future, us to create about a 2.5 mile walking trail along the river that would give people a chance to get away from the city and to take in nature. And if we can create opportunities like that, and I'm also envision creating a city lake, so you have a starting point and you can end up by a fishing lake that, you know, you can teach individuals, young people, how to take in nature, but also know that this is a quality of life that not many communities have. If you have a passion or have something that you want to see come to life, Ellsworth is the place to make that happen.
A community is built on the character of its citizens, and Ellsworth County has been blessed by such a rich heritage, a pioneer spirit, and embraces the past as they build for the future. Ellsworth and the surrounding towns of Wilson, Holyrood, Canopolis, and Lorain invite you to spend some time with us this year and join us as we celebrate our 150th anniversary. This special edition of Traveling Kansas will give you a brief look at our history and attractions, and we hope you come discover what makes Ellsworth County such a great place to visit and make your own special memories. Traveling Kansas, Ellsworth County, made possible by a grant from Ellsworth, a community with pride, and in cooperation with Wilson, Holyrood, Canopolis, and Lorain.
This program is brought to you by the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks, and Tourism. Find out more information about Kansas communities at travelks.com.